waking up in PalWorld once again, this time looking like Kratos. Nice. So I've done a little bit, but also not too much. I had a little exploration around my base, looked at my new powers and started beating a rock. However, I then learnt my powers make terrible guard dogs as this player managed to rock straight up on me. Luckily for me, he seemed far too interested in manhandling all of my pals. I'm never saying that again. So this was my first multiplayer interaction and it actually went pretty well. We decided to team up to go exploring. He had very little on him, but actually had quite a large amount of knowledge about the game, and well, I had the opposite. At this point I'd gathered quite a lot of things, but I still really had no idea how to play the game, so the two of us teaming up was really beneficial for this part. Our exploration was cut short when we found a giant chillet, a creature I had not even seen before, and yet here it is, all massive and beastie. We also discovered that there was a bug. This creature was not fighting, nor was it moving, which made it relatively easy to take down. We even stood there and got bored for a while. We then made a rule. When there was a creature that we both wanted, we would go 1 for 1, throw in our PAL spheres at it, and take in turns trying to catch it. Whoever catches it obviously gets to keep it. I went first, and luckily I caught it because I really wanted that creature. It was really cool. Look at him. He's mine now. With the new addition to my party, my friend decided that he was going to walk around and try and find a place to make a base. I went back to my base and started trying to make it more functionable for all the powers I had there already. It was quite a few. Through all the new captures that I'd made and all the eggs that I found, I actually ended up with a pretty okay team. And just like with Pokemon these days, all I tend to do is just go for the ones that look the coolest, and this Empoleon here definitely looks cool. I will never stop referring to these as Pokemon. These are Wish Pokemon, and that's fine by me. My buddy returned the next morning and he had a new creature to show me, a Tombat, which was now officially the coolest creature I had seen. That lasted for a total of like maybe 20 minutes until I got raided by a bandwagon of fangirls, which sounded really exciting. I rushed up to explore only to be met with this. This was giving me Mewtwo vibes, which made me think I really wanted this creature. The problem I have with raids now is my team are so powerful, they normally end up killing off what's attacking before I can catch it. 2 of them died, but I did manage to capture 1, so we'll see. We'll see what a Lovelander does. The following day when my friend came back, I showed him my Lovelander, and there's only so many things like this I can say before I just get a strike. But he happened to really like it, and said things that also cannot be in the video. That night we decided to take on our first cave together. Now it turns out I'd been in a cave before and I've actually beat one of the bosses. That's how I got Ruby. But he was convinced there'd be a better boss in here somewhere, and there wasn't. Now, my friend had the idea to use a giant Lambo as a shield like he did with the one before, which was quite the change because we sat there for like 5 minutes trying to decide if we should actually take it on, and none of us really wanted it. But we went 1 for 1 trying to catch it, and it was actually one of the hardest captures we've had so far. None of them too difficult, but this one definitely broke out a few times, which I didn't expect. But in the end, he ended up claiming the giant Lambo, and it would have been cool to have around, but I don't really know if I would have used it, so it's not too much of a loss on my part. We exited the cave and just went on trying to capture absolutely everything and being shocked by the choice of language when we didn't. We found a syndicate camp, and in the time it took me to release the creature inside, my friend had already killed them all, so no combat today. I then noticed that Rushor actually has a charge ability that makes him go really fast, so I continuously did this whilst repeating the word zoomies to the point where my friend left me. I was back on my own again. However, I was getting quite a large amount of creatures now, and I was building some more impressive things. However, it's quite cheeky to say that you're impressive at a game while you've still not completed the tutorial, so I decided that's what I was going to do next. What I was told was, I needed to go to this tower directly in front of me to complete a boss battle, and apparently the only person I knew in this game died multiple times, and it took him until he got to level 30 where he could finally beat this boss. Now I wasn't level 30, I was round about level 17, 18 at this point, but I fancied my chances. Plus, if I didn't go on this adventure I would never have found this giant chicken, and it's cool. I wanted it. What for? I don't know, but it's giant and it's a chicken, so it's mine now. Now, as I keep making references to Ark, I was pretty convinced I was going to die 100 times over before I'd actually get where I needed to go, but turns out this game isn't like that at all, or at least it isn't so far. I made it to the tower and I was really considering which fighters I wanted to jump in with first. I had no idea what was coming. I'm going into this game completely blind. All I knew is boss battle, and I was picturing more of a 6v6 Pokemon type thing. Oh my god, was I wrong. So the boss fight actually starts with me being shown Electabuzz, which made me really excited because I just instantly thought that I could capture it and have it. But yeah, I learned during the fight that I can't do that. I just physically have to fight it. But look at him. Look at this beast. How could you not want this? Mark my words, I will capture that. Gizzlebolt, I will get you. So at this point I'd actually managed to get a poison bow with some poison arrows. I pictured this being me spamming it a few times and its health would just keep going down like a poison status, but it didn't actually do anything different to a normal bow, so that was kind of disappointing. And then eventually I ran out of arrows and just started stabbing it with a spear. And I was constantly switching powers because I had no idea which one was going to be more effective. Turns out Tombat. Oh yeah, I caught my own Tombat at this point. And he was very useful. And we actually got a boss elimination relatively easy. Level 30 my ass. So I got to the top of the Syndicate Tower and didn't have a hang glider to get back down. So yeah, by the time I did get to base, I was starting to see that we actually look like a base from afar. So positive baby steps. I then made the parachute because I thought it would have been really cool for me to be able to jump off that tower, and I missed that opportunity. I will never do that again. I will jump off all the towers. The annoying thing is, I did learn relatively quickly after this that my base is too small. I built it in a really awkward area where all the big stuff I need to build just doesn't fit anywhere. I have a terrible base. I ended up needing to build a platform just so I could put... Just see what I did. See what I did. That's all I could do. So at this point, it's appearing quite obvious to me that the best thing I can do is try and make a base elsewhere. However, I can't do that until I get my current base level to level 10. So I'm going to have to work on that first. The main problem for leveling up my base at the moment is I really lack the iron I need. So I decided to go on an exploration mission and ended up in another cave. However, I did find a giant rush ore and that was quite exciting. This guy actually put up a hell of a fight. It was actually more interesting than the boss fight I had earlier. I don't know where it was just fun. And it took a while for me to beat him. In fact, to be fair, I think it's kind of safe to say that he beat him. He kind of just charged at me, went straight off the cliff, and then just turned himself into an easy target for me and my team. It turned into me just kind of spamming him with arrows until I felt his health was low enough to try and capture him. The idea of riding a giant rush ore into battle was just too good, so I had to have this capture. However, he turned out being relatively slow, so I switched him out almost immediately. Not too far away from the cave, I ended up finding a lot of flat land which I instantly thought could be a new base, until I adventured a little further. Honestly, all I was doing was looking for iron at this point, and I found iron, as you can see. I found a lot of iron. However, I also found a lot of base potential. Now this here is civilization potential. There is nothing. So this is it. This will be the future base. The good thing about this area, other than it's nothing but flat land, it had a fast travel point right next to it and a bunch of iron. Everything I needed was in this one area. I went back to base and just tried to get as many ingots as I could, because I knew the majority of what I was going to need to get to level 10 was going to be mostly ingots. I spent the next couple of minutes just going back and forth trying to transfer all the ingots. I even got a chance to go AFK for a bit as the ingots smelted. After going AFK, gaining passive levels, I was actually getting a bit cocky in my abilities. Cocky enough that I actually wanted to take on one of these guys again. So I did, without thinking about the consequences. This dude has ranged attacks, I completely forgot. Then he pretty much just rocked up at my gate and started blasting upon everyone. It took my entire roster to take this guy down. This guy was really tanky. I had to keep bringing out new fighters as he was just one-shotting everyone I had. I then tried to get a bit smarter, bringing out type advantages, trying to get fire people to like burn him, but that didn't do as much damage as I thought. And it ended up just being me spamming him with a spear because I didn't want to waste arrows either. But the whole reason I done this was because this guy is obviously going to be an absolute brute in battle, and I wasn't going to let him get away. Now, I have no idea what I'm going to experience later on in this game, but I do believe this guy is going to be very handy to fight against anything that comes up. Now, I was completely surprised when I actually caught this guy. Then I started acting like a kid on Christmas and just ran away from my base, trying to find anyone I could attack. I finally got to use the hang glider I mentioned earlier, and this thing is really helpful. This has helped me a lot. Anyway, back to the battle side of things. I just randomly threw in the Mammorest just to see what he could do to enemies, and he kind of one-shot everyone before I even made it over the wall. I then explored a bit more, got some fast travel points, and found a lot of cool new creatures, and I just spammed everything with the power spears. I want everything. I just really got entertained climbing things and just gliding down. I have no idea, the gliding mechanic's just really cool. I did get ambushed a lot whilst doing that though. But the Mammorest just honestly carried. There's very little things it didn't destroy, and I just went around, started throwing the power spheres at whatever he weakened, and it's a very easy way to capture high level creatures. I don't know if these count as high level or I just need to hurry up and progress. The exploration on this game is honestly one of its strongest points. I found a random mineshaft, went in expecting a cave type of thing, and it was really dark, so I had to use my fiery creature to kind of light up the way for me. But once I did find out where I was going, I found what I kind of assumed was a boss, and I thought, this is cool, I want this guy. However, he wasn't a boss, he was trying to sell me POWs. Which does sound really innocent when I say it like that. After realising I was poor and purchasing nothing, I climbed to the top of that and found a King Paco. I haven't really done much in the grand scheme of things on this game, but every time I adventure out I always find eggs which end up giving me really cool creatures, so the team I'm kind of working with now is very impressive. Even more impressive now that I have King Paco. I have no idea if this guy's going to be useful, but he looks cool, so I'll take him. And another Tombat, because what the hell, why not? After a quick mining sesh with Giant Rushel, I started adventuring again, surprise surprise. I then found this place in the middle of the ocean, and I had to explore. Now there were some impressive pals here, and I killed a few and caught a few, but in the end I was realising these guys are quite powerful, so I ended up just adventuring onward, seeing what was actually past this weird structure I found. It was nothing but water. So back to base we went, and thanks to Rushel I actually had the iron I needed now to get my base to level 10. This now means I can create a second base, and I think I found the perfect place to do that. I immediately got to work on base 2 and kind of just looked around the land to see what I was going to build and where I was going to build it. There was a lot more potential here and I had somewhat of an idea. So my last base was awkwardly placed, so everything was squished together and it was all wood, which made it look cheap and kind of made me look like a noob. So I wasn't doing that again. I was going all out stone, and this meant a lot of back and forth, but I knew what I wanted to build, I just had no idea how it was going to come out. So I got to work just kind of going off a structure I made in Ark, to be honest. This is very similar to our Ark playthrough, but this was just for one person, so maybe I did get carried away a bit. In the end, this structure ended up having 4 floors and a place for flying creatures, although I'm not entirely sure I have any flying creatures I can saddle at the moment. Nevertheless, I was inspired. So I just got to work building whatever come to mind, most of it impulsive, and I didn't actually know what I was doing whilst I was doing it. The only thing I could think was big house. So that's what I done, big house. I won't waste your time showing the entire process, as this took an embarrassing amount of time, but in the next video I'll probably give a better tour and show you what I've done. There's going to be a big difference between here and there. I am really enjoying this game and I'm really wanting to do a few more PalWorld videos, so if you do like seeing them, let me know. I'm trying to not make these videos drag too long. I've got about 26 hours in game at the moment and I managed to condense that down to 2 15-minute videos, I believe. So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing and this is an appropriate pace for you.